For our top story, MS Dhoni's Test captaincy is being reviewed by the national selectors, while it's the end of the road for Indian coach Duncan Fletcher. My colleague Rika Roy reports. This is an NDTV exclusive.
An achievement Indian cricket can be proud of, the title of World Champions. Though the months that followed that World Cup triumph haven't been the best for the men in blue. And just so the poor run doesn't continue till the next World Cup, the Indian selectors have already sprung into action.
NDTV has learned that the selectors expressed their disappointment to Dhoni after Team India's test loss against England at home. However, they have asked MSD to draw up a blueprint for the 2015 World Cup. What this means is that he's been asked to identify people who could help India perform well in the World Cup Down Under in 2015. It is also a clear indication of the fact that while the five wise men have made Dhoni the one-day captain till 2015, he's also been asked to pull up his socks.
Meanwhile, Dhoni's Test captaincy is also on tenterhooks. And even though ODI and Test results cannot be equated, sources have told NDTV that the decision on whether Dhoni will lead the Test team versus Australia in February will depend heavily on how Team India performs in the one-dayers versus Pakistan and England. While the decision on Dhoni may have been put on hold, the fate of Indian coach Duncan Fletcher has already been sealed.
NDTV can now confirm that BCCI will not renew Duncan Fletcher's contract when it expires in March next year. They have already started looking for a new coach.
One can't disagree with that, considering India has lost 10 tests and failed to make the finals of any ODI or T20 competition ever since the Zimbabwean took over in 2011. With Rika Roy in Ahmedabad, Gorka Chopra for NDTV.
Right, so our report has established that the selectors are reviewing Dhoni's captaincy in all formats of the game. Joining us for more on that is former India skipper Sunil Gavaskar. Mr. Gavaskar, after the loss to England in Test, you said that it was time to give Kohli the reins of the Test team. But what's your take on the ODI captaincy? Mahi is still the best man to do it?
I believe that while it's early days as far as 2015 is concerned, maybe a little bit of a break will certainly do wonders for Dhoni, because I admire the fact that he keeps so cool under pressure, which is such an important aspect in the Indian sort of psyche. You do not want skippers who are clapping their hands, waving about. That can actually add to the pressure. So Dhoni has his pluses. But I think at the moment, with the kind of results that India is getting, maybe it might be a time for him to get a break. I'm not saying that it will probably happen during the season. It might not happen till March, April. It could happen for the season that starts in 2013. But I think I think we need to have a look at that. But sometimes it actually helps for a skipper to have a break, whether it's a voluntary break or an enforced break, enforced in the sense that the selection committee appoints somebody else. Because then he can come in with a different perspective. He gets the time to think about what he's done, where the areas to improve, and he can come back as a better captain. So it's not just about Dhoni, it's about just generally about skippers.
But if the selectors are to give Dhoni a break, as you suggested, do you think realistically he can come back as the skipper of the Indian team?
Yes, I think so. There's nothing that stops him, because maybe his successor might actually find it difficult to cope with the pressures and the demands of being the Indian captain. It's actually a very funny kind of situation. People want to be captains, but they don't understand. I mean, that's a big honor, that's a huge privilege to be the captain of your country. But the demands and the pressures that come with it are incredible. And sometimes, you tend to sort of say to yourself that, hang on a minute, I don't want all these pressures. I just want to play my own game, be my own man, instead of looking at what the others are doing. As a captain, you're not thinking about yourself. As a captain, you're thinking about everybody else, the 14 players, as well as the guys who are on the fringe looking to break into the Indian squad. So I think it does add to the pressures. So sometimes a break can certainly help.
Right. Okay, if not the captain, what does one do with MSD? Would you keep him in the playing 11 then in ODIs and T20s?
Yes. Yes, I would certainly continue to have Dhoni as part of the playing 11 because he's a match winner. He's a match winner in the 50 overs format. He's a match winner in the T20 format. So yes, I think Dhoni certainly is an integral part of the Indian team for the next couple of years for sure. No question about it. Unless his form dips, at the moment he is a match winner in both these formats of the game.
Right. So if Mahi is to be rested as skipper, who should take over as Test and ODI captain then?
I think Virat Kohli. My feeling is, and I could be wrong, my feeling is that Virat Kohli is going to bring to India captaincy the kind of flair, the kind of charisma that Tiger Patodi had. Once he becomes the captain, and he becomes the captain on a permanent basis, when he feels that he is the captain permanently, he is going to bring to Indian cricket the dynamism and the aggressiveness, and with it the panache and the class that Tiger Patodi brought. I just get this feeling. I do not want Virat Kohli to change, apart from the fact that I would just want him to stop mouthing the abuses when he reaches a landmark. I do not want him to change any which way. His aggressive cricket, his aggressive nature on the field, do not want that for him to change. But I genuinely believe that if he becomes a captain, he will bring to Indian cricket a dimension that will take Indian cricket forward.
Right, now since you are of the opinion that Dhoni should be given a break as skipper in all formats, do you then think the selectors jumped the gun in asking Dhoni to prepare a blueprint for 2015?
Yes, I think I'm actually surprised if what you say is true, that they asked him for a blueprint, because first and foremost the selection committee's tenure is only for a year, so there's no guarantee that they're going to be there till 2000 or going to be there in 2014 to select the team for 2015. So I'm a little surprised, but it's always good for there to be a frank exchange between the selection committee members, the chairman as well as the think tank. It's always a good thing, because then everybody knows that they are on the same page. And you've got to be on the same page if you want to take Indian cricket forward.
Right. The other piece of news that we are reporting exclusively right here on NDTV is that it's the end of the road for Duncan Fletcher. Do you then think it's time we brought back an Indian to coach the Indian cricket team?
Yes, I think why not try an Indian coach? I would certainly look at an Indian coach, because an Indian coach understands the Indian psyche a lot better. Gary Kirsten, and on the other thing that's got to be remembered is that the Indian cricketers will also respect an Indian who's achieved things. Look, one of the reasons why Gary Kirsten was successful was because he'd done it all at both the test level as well as the one-day international level. Hundreds and thousands of runs in test cricket, lots of centuries in test cricket, lots of centuries and hundreds and thousands of runs in one-day cricket. So he was somebody they looked up to because he'd done it all. His work ethic was the work ethic of a person looking to improve, and that is so important. If you have a real champion cricketer coming through, then sometimes the champion cricketers' work ethic is a little bit different, because things come a lot easy for champion cricketers. While somebody who's got to work hard at his cricket, like Gary Kirsten had to, I think the same work ethic comes to the rest of the team, and that helps the team to develop a work ethic that is so important and so crucial in developing your own game and taking your game and your country's cricket forward.